as part of a school program. And as a result of that, abortion is up. I mean, I think we should all be picketing Bush, the White House, and anybody in this state who doesn't support comprehensive sex education for causing abortion. They are. Sexually transmitted diseases are up. Oral sex is up. No matter where you look at it, it's surrealistic. It's how you know something is really wrong when it is actually doing the opposite, you know, of what, I mean, that the people who say they're anti-abortion are actually causing more abortions. You know that something is really wrong. And this reproductive freedom has to become, when we are voting, we have to be as resistant to ever supporting anybody who doesn't support reproductive freedom as anybody who doesn't support freedom of speech or freedom of religion. It is a fundamental human right.
Good afternoon. I'm an example of your description of women being conservative when they're young and not so conservative as they get older. I married at 21. My husband thought he got a meek little doormat. I raised 3 children, and 5 years ago got my bachelor's degree. Next year, at age 49, I'll graduate with my law degree. I'm no longer meek and quiet.
Where are you? I can't quite see. Oh, okay.
Right in front of you.
You see, because from my point of view, the sound all comes from the same place, so that I can't. Okay, great.
My question.
My question is: are you still married to the same guy?
I am.
So he must have changed a lot, right?
Well, not a lot. I'm dragging him along, kicking and screaming. But my question is this. My concern is, you talked about each vote matters, and I totally agree. I have a daughter at MIT, and a few years ago she took a class at Harvard, and I got to sit in one day with her. And I heard a demonstration of how Governor David Boren, no, he's no longer governor, but at the time he was a senator, and he made a difference in legislation that Bill Clinton was trying to pass through. And I understand that one vote can make a difference. I never meet people who believe that anymore, and they need to. I try to explain that we have the power. We are the sovereign. People don't believe me. How do we make that happen?
Well, first of all, you know, that you're saying it, people who know you and trust you hear that, and they know they've heard a different opinion, and they may think about that. But I would just, you know, you can get this on the internet, you can get it from a lot of the organizations, just a lot of the crucial issues that were decided by 1% or less of the vote. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, if what people are saying is those issues are too big and they don't affect me, even if 1% of the vote made a difference, then I think you can say, well, are you drinking bottled water? Lots of people are drinking bottled water, right? Why? Well, partly because there's more arsenic in the water, because the Clean Water Act was not supported by this administration. Are you graduating in debt? Tuition costs have gone up 30%, as I was saying, under the Bush administration. You know, so I think our job, your and my job, is to show the tiny margin of a lot of the votes, and also to connect the issues to our daily lives. That's what I think the media does a kind of poor job of, don't you? I mean, they present them as very big up there, but they don't explain how it affects us, and that's our job, to make that linkage. And to use whatever networks we have. We all belong to something. Does that something, as a routine matter, get out its vote? Does it even ask you on what you fill out as a member of that something? Where do you live? What congressional district? What assembly and state senate district? What do you want to know? Does it? Mostly they don't. Even lots of things you would think would, you know, don't do that. So just, you know, don't get discouraged that you can't start from the top. That's okay. Start from where you are, from your neighborhood, from your organizations, from the people you know, from volunteering to help drive people to the polls on election day. Do it from where you are.
Hi, I'm over here. Recently, I had the honor, pleasure of sitting on a board of a grant-driven, Robert Wood Johnson grant, community grant for empowering Hispanic women to take some control in the lives of their families related to preventing type 2 diabetes. And it's a very successful grant program, and I was really amazed at their progress. However, what I heard demographically about these women in Tulsa is that their education level on the average is lower than their white sisters. We're all white, but you know what I mean. The middle class white women that are the average here. That they have more children, that their economic situations are not as good. I'm really concerned for those women and those families. And what are you hearing nationwide is the situation of Hispanic families? Now, we've passed a law in Oklahoma that is going to force, as of November, large numbers of them underground, because it will be illegal to provide services for people who are not here legally. So I'm just concerned.
Well,
about
yeah,
these
no,
families.
I'm glad you raised that, and it's interesting to know. I gather you're saying that the rate of diabetes, of type 2 diabetes, is higher in the Hispanic population than in the population at large. I think it's even higher in the American Indian population at large, right? And it's important to understand that this is all not a question of fault in education. Some of it is about our ability to metabolize refined sugar, which in some populations makes people more vulnerable to diabetes and to alcoholism. So, it isn't just, I'm a sugar junkie, If I were a Cherokee, I would be diabetic by now, and I'm not, So it's not, we come into it in different situations. But I think that some of the most successful efforts I've seen have been to help groups go back to their traditional diet, which was usually a very good diet. I mean, rice and beans is the perfect protein. And the culprit is more the kind of junk food and refined sugar and all the things we know, and animal fat that have come with a different diet. That's true for the Hispanic population, it's true for the Native American population. And so there's a base there, to work with and to support that honors the culture and also furthers health at the same time. I don't actually know of a specific program, but if you give me that you're asking about, but if you give me your name and address or email or something. Mm-hmm. Well, it depends where you look, because Hispanic, of course, covers Cuban, covers Puerto Rican, covers Chicana, and of course Central American and so on. So even that is a generalization, but it's a little bit different. And I would say that of those three, the Cuban population is the best off economically than the Puerto Rican population, than the Chicana population, because they so often have come to this country for reasons of economic need in the first place.